All right, we're going to look at exercises 6-9 through 6-11. Here, looking at target profit analysis. So, very similar to break-even analysis, but obviously here we are not concerned with break-even. We want to earn more than what we spend, so we want to earn that target profit. So Ruby Corp reports the following information. So sales of 1.2 million, total variable cost of 800,000, total fix of 600,000, units sold of 100,000 units. Assuming there's no change to selling price per unit and variable cost per unit, what is the amount of units to be sold to achieve an after-tax profit of 300,000 for Ruby Corp, assuming a tax rate of 40%? So 6-9, we're going to look at how many units we need to sell. 6-10, we're going to look at the amount of revenue we need to be sold. And then 6-11, we'll look at before tax profit versus after tax profit. So I reproduced the information from the question here. So sales was 1.2 million, variable cost of 800,000, fixed cost of 600,000, units sold of 100,000 units, after tax profit of 300,000. The tax rate is 40%. So that's all the pertinent information we need. Exercise 6-9 asked, how many units do we have to sell in order to earn that after tax profit of 300,000? Well, the formula for target profit in units is this third one here. The numerator, it's fixed cost plus before tax profit divided by contribution margin per unit. Excuse me here, I'm just gonna make this a little bigger. Notice, so the profit they gave us was in after-tax dollars. We want to know, we need to convert that to before tax dollars, so before tax profit. So how do we do that? Well, we take the after-tax profit and we divide it by 1 minus the tax rate. So if I do that, I take the 300,000 and I'm going to divide it by 1 minus the tax rate, which is 40%. That means 300,000 of after-tax profit, assuming a tax rate of 40%, is the same as $500,000 of before tax profit. And you can look at that reconciliation here real quick. If before tax profit was 500,000 and if the tax rate is 40%, if we multiply the two, our taxes are 200,000, meaning what is left over after taxes is that after tax profit of 300,000. So that reconciles there. So our before tax profit is 500,000. We divide that by our contribution margin per unit after we add fixed costs. We need to figure out what is our contribution margin per unit. And remember, contribution margin per unit, it's sales, which is 1.2 million, minus variable costs of 800,000. That's your numerator. And we divide it by the units sold, which is 100,000. So you can see that formula there, the sales of 1.2 million minus variable costs. So your total contribution margin is the 1.2 minus the 800, which is $400,000, divided by the number of units sold, which was 100,000 units. So we get a contribution margin per unit of $4. So now we can finally go ahead and calculate what is our target profit in units sold. The formula, your numerator, it's fixed costs of 600,000 plus our before tax profit, which we just calculated, is the $500,000. And we divide that numerator by our contribution margin per unit, which we just calculated to be $4 a unit. So you can see the formula there, the 600,000 in fixed costs plus 500,000 in before tax profit, so 1.1 million. Divide that by the $4 per unit of contribution margin. In order to earn this before tax profit, we need to sell 275,000 units. Now for 610, it asks, what is the amount of target or in order to achieve this target profit, which we already calculated to be the 500,000, how much revenue do we have to generate? Formula for target profit in revenue is very similar to target profit in units. The only difference is the denominator. Notice for in units, we're dividing by contribution margin per unit. For revenue, we're dividing by contribution margin ratio. So we have to calculate that contribution margin ratio. Our formula for contribution margin ratio, it's the numerator, it's sales minus variable costs, which is again, the 1.2 million of sales minus variable costs of 800,000. and we divide that by the sales of 1.2 million. You can see the formula there. We get a contribution margin ratio of 1/3, or 33.33% repeating. Now, in order to determine the target profit in revenue, we take the fixed cost of 600,000, we add the before tax profit of 500,000, so 1.1 million on top, and we divide it by our contribution margin ratio of 33%, or 1/3. We get a target profit in revenue of $3.3 million. So in other words, we have to generate 3.3 million in revenue in order to earn that 500,000 in before tax profit, or the 300,000 in after tax profit. Now 611 asks, how would our answers to 6.9 and 6.10 change if the target profit was before tax of 300,000 instead of after tax? So in this case, if the target profit was 300,000 before tax, that's the amount we would use in our numerator. Because remember, look at our formulas for target profit in units. It's before tax profit. So we would plug in 300,000 there instead of the 500,000 that we calculated before. Same with the target profit in revenue. We plug in the before tax profit amount. And if the 300,000 in the original question stem, if this was the before tax target profit, then we don't have to do this calculation. It's already in before tax dollars. So what we would do is we would plug in 300,000 for our formula for target profit in units. So it's the fixed costs of 600,000 plus, in this case, it'd be before tax profit of 300,000, so 900,000. Divide that by the contribution margin per unit. Now our number of units to sell in order to achieve that profit is 225,000. And look, compare that to the amount that we calculated originally in 6.9. Our target profit in units was 275,000 units. Now it's 225. So the number decreased, which makes sense because our before tax profit goal decreased from originally being 500,000. Now we're saying that the target before tax is 300,000. So our numerator is getting smaller, which means our answer is going to get smaller as well.